It is off-season time here on our draft-only franchise on NBA 2K23, and it's the first opportunity we have to really improve the team. And if you missed the end of last episode, we went through the lottery where we won the second pick in the NBA draft, had the number 1 odds. The Magic jumped up from, I think, 5 or 6 all the way to number 1. The Jazz fell from 2 to 5. Supersonics, I think, fell from 6 to 7, just to name a couple of the risers. The Hornets, I think, went from 7 up to 4. So a lot of movement there in the lottery. Was hoping for the number 1 pick, but we didn't quite get it, which really means the question of this episode is Mirko Petrovic versus Freddie Staples. And I've had a lot of different thoughts going around with this topic, and I have made my decision as to who I will pick at number 2 overall. Not gonna spoil it here though. Let's go ahead and save the suspension for the NBA draft, but we got some stuff to handle before then. Namely, we have staff signings here. We have 14 out of 17 slots filled. Want to get up to that $17 million amount. Only have about $1 million in terms of budget, but it doesn't look like we have any of the major positions to fill, just a couple of the complementary positions. And so I've made a couple offers already. One is here to Foster here, the foreign scout, has really good organizing and analytics, has the foreign scout tag on him. So that's one. And then also I've made an offer to a couple of coaches here. Guard Guru, we made an offer to, let's see who it was. I think it was right here. Bradley to be our guard guru, and then Wing Whisperer, I made an offer to right here, Prunty to be the Wing Whisperer. None of these deals are like 4-year deals, they're all more short-term deals, but I think this will be good. Now you see Michael Stauffer here, it looks like he got fired by Seattle. I don't want Seattle to fire him, so I'm trying to re-up this offer with Michael Stauffer with Seattle. If he doesn't get there, then I'll just hire them a head coach. The thing about if you do a franchise like this with expansions, a lot of the times the expansion teams hire terrible head coaches. So I just want to help Seattle avoid stupid decisions. And so gonna try to get that Michael Stauffer back, but that's basically what we're doing here in the coaching period. Let's go ahead and sim forward a day. Looks like we don't have, okay. I don't know why it was declining it if we had the money to get him. Got a Mulling and a couple of signs. Stauffer does not look like he wants to come here, unfortunately. Offered him $11 million a year. So look, they offered Clifford Cheeks, who has 0 stars everything. They offered him $8 million a year. We're not doing that. That's such a terrible move. So we're gonna come up and probably just try to hire JC Richards here. Might give him a couple badges because I do want the CPU teams to have good head coaches. Sorry, the expansion teams is what I mean. So that's what we'll be doing here. I don't know why they're automatically doing decline when I offered them the contract. Rejected, sign. That will be it. So we have filled out our coaching staff, and we've also given the Sonics a new head coach, JC Richards. We'll be coaching them. I'll edit those badges later, but while I'm on it, let's go ahead and take our names off of the Sonics. And with the staff out of the way, it is time to focus on the draft. I've gotten a few different guys on my draft board. And so let's go ahead and start to preview them right now. Just go ahead and take a look at some of the leaders in various categories at the Combine. Fastest sprint goes to JT Neely. I'm not sure if I have really put much effort into scouting him, but if he's super quick, that would make him intriguing here. 6'4" shooting guard. little bit of defensive ability, A+ athleticism, that makes sense. Maybe we try to scout him a little bit more. He is 23 years old though. Ruben Reese, 6'7" guy here, who really fast and has good three-point shooting ability. I definitely want to get more from him. He's got better size too. Want to scout Ruben Reese more. Dion Hayward is up there. Haywood, excuse me. He's somebody that we've definitely been targeting. Philip Evans and Eric Morris, Bradford Reeds. These are all guys that are definitely in consideration for our pick. JT Neely is just one of the fastest out there. Theo Campbell's too small. Jeremy Benjamin here. Solid looking player here. Vertical, we got JT Neely leading again, so he's just the best athlete in the class. It definitely deserves a look for sure. And then who's the other guy I wanted to look at? Ruben Reese. JT Neely and Ruben Reese at shooting guard. Bench press, Antonio Kersey, a really strong man here. I actually like what I've seen from him a decent bit. He's got some stretch 5 abilities, but he's also a really good rebounder. He's just a little bit undersized, which it's tough to get away with undersized centers in 2K, but I actually do like Antonio Kersey quite a bit. Standing 15-footers, Jess Maxwell. He is on our board. He's one of, I think, the top 10 players in this class. A+ mid-range shooting, B. Three-point shooting is more of like a interior defense and exterior offense kind of guy. Maybe reminds you a little bit of kind of like an Al Harrington mold, maybe. Moving 15-footers. Ramon Ramos out here hit 23 of 25. What's his? He's got D- mid-range. Nice. Sick, bro. Jess Maxwell, standing college threes. So this guy's a shooter for sure. Bradford Reeves, as you might suspect, is up there as well. He's somebody that I really like in this class. Moving threes, Jess Maxwell, dude. He is very impressive as a shooter. He is projected to go before we could probably pick him with our second pick, though. 11th, 14th, 32nd here. So if he's at the back end of his range. Ruben Reese here. He's very intriguing. So this is what the Combine helps you identify a couple of guys who you weren't thinking of before that maybe you should put on your board. Very intrigued now with Ruben Reese. Want to scout him a little bit more here. And then Brent Malone, A+ three-point shooter. A+ athleticism here, a point guard, 6'3". Might try to scout him a little bit extra as well. So that's really all the takeaways I've got here from the Combine. Let's go ahead and now switch to pre-draft workouts, and I want to get more scouting on Ruben Reese. He's only at 18% now, so I don't know. It's not going to really help us get a really good read on him, but we can get a little bit more. As with JT Neely, that's another guy that I really liked. Let's go here and find the guy who was the best three-point shooter. 6'3" right here, Brent Malone. And then other than that, I think something I like to do with these pre-draft workouts, like if I was being legit, we'd bring in Staples and we'd bring in the other guys like Baldwin and Petrovic, but we already have them on 100% for this. So for the sake of the game, it's not really giving me much value bringing them in for a workout, but some guys that are just below 100% that we can get up to that 100% mark, I'm definitely all about that. Not really bringing in the guys that are just like 6 foot nothing point guards though. That's not what we're gonna do. So that's pretty much it for pre-draft workouts. Trying to think. Oh, Francis Shaw was somebody else that I wanted to get more information on for sure. Down at center, so we'll put him in here as well. And that will be it for the pre-draft process. So before we actually get to the draft, let us go ahead and just take a look at my draft board. I'm gonna add a couple of guys on here at the end, the guys that we were just talking about. If we go here should be higher now. So we got JT Neely up to 66% and Ruben Reese up to 68%. We get C+ potential from Reese. We get Neely C. So neither of them is super high floor, but I really actually like Ruben Reese a decent bit. That's a really good skill set from him. And then we'll add this other guy, Neely, and then we'll add this point guard. Where was he? I forget his name. Brent Malone. There we go. So that puts our draft board up to 28. I want to for sure come out of this draft with 3 of these 28 players. Let's go ahead and just quickly go through at least the ones that I think have a decent chance of being drafted by us. Jackson Baldwin, if for some reason doesn't get taken at number 1, we will be taking him. He's incredible. 6'10" guy who can basically play point guard for you, but won't, because he's going to play small forward if we draft him. But he's going number 1 overall. That's pretty much locked in for Orlando. And then again, I'm not going to spoil it right now, but just let's talk about the pros and the cons of taking Mirko versus Freddie Staples here at 2. Mirko, 83 overall. He's right in line with Jackson Baldwin in terms of right now impact. In terms of a guy, you want a center that's going to be able to dominate the boards, play good defense inside, and still have B+ perimeter defense. This guy is going to be a defensive menace. So we talk about how impactful Jackson Baldwin can be defensively. Mirko Petrovic can be just as impactful, and he's playing center, which is, in my opinion at least, the most important defensive position, both in real life basketball and in this game. Has a very well developed post game, not much of a shooter though, and really shooting combined with the fact that our best player on the team right now is a center in Jalen Duren are really the only 2 reasons you don't go Mirko Petrovic at 2. If you draft him, you're probably playing one of those guys at the 4, because they'd be the 2 best players on the team. You're not gonna have your second best player on the whole team come off the bench. It's just not going to work. So Mirko Petrovic, can he play the 4? Shooting is the only concern. I think other than that, B+ perimeter defense, A athleticism, I think that can play the 4. And that would be a really, really, really nasty front court duo. It's just we might have some problems shooting, because it's not like we have incredible shooting from the guys behind them either, right? They're all fine, but we'd have a lot of front court shooting problems. And then there's Freddie Staples, who has pretty much everything you want from a point guard. Passes great, scores at all 3 levels. Not an incredible mid-range scorer, but I'd rather you be able to score from the 3 and the key. Perimeter defense is A. He gets a ton of steals. Athleticism, A+. He can jump out of the gym, compared to Westbrook by our buddy there out there in episode 2. A+ potential. His only drawback is he's 6'2". Can you win with a 6'2" player being the best guy on your team? There was a big discussion in the real life draft this year around Scoot Henderson, and that's maybe why he went 3rd rather than 2nd, and might be why Freddie Staples goes 3rd here too. Or would I rather have him than Mirko Petrovic? Both players I'd be super, super, super happy to get. Would have been very happy to have the 3rd pick and just take whoever fell to me. But we get the choice here in this draft between the 2. I have made that my decision, and we'll see in just a couple of minutes what that will be. Then we've got some guys on our board who I think are good. They're just not going to be guys that we can take. From 4 to 9, I don't see us being in range to take any of these guys. Probably 11 too if we went like this. I think there's a chance we could take Antonio Kirksey. If we take Freddie Staples, I wouldn't mind taking a really good backup center, which I think Kirksey is. He's going to come in at a 75 overall, 8+ rebounding, B+ inside defense, and then also could potentially be a guy who could space the floor from 3 at the 5. Always kind of intrigued by the potential stretch 5s here. I really like him. The main drawback for him is if we don't get Freddie Staples, we're going to need to probably take a guard with our 2nd first round pick, and he's an undersized center. Then we have the guys who, even if I take Freddie Staples, at that point I'd probably heavily target Bradford Reeves. But we got this string of 5 guards, and these are the 5 guards that I like in this class, and I need to come away with one of them. Even if I think we draft Freddie Staples, we can get Reeves, or maybe even, I think Collins is like 6'4", maybe he can play 2 guard, probably not. So if we take Staples, I'm keying in on Reeves. If we don't, any of these 5 would work for me personally. But let's go ahead and talk about their games. We got Eric Morris here, who doesn't really shoot well. He's mostly just kind of a pure playmaker right now with really good athleticism and B+ potential. Badges wise, he has, I think, one playmaking badge. He can thread the needle. Dion Haywood, very different player. He has 3 badges, but he's more of a score first point guard, and we were last in the NBA in terms of points per game last year, and so getting somebody that can get some buckets off the bench for us, I like the sound of that a lot. Bradford Reeves is the only non-point guard here of this group. He is another guy who's more of an offensive guy, A mid-range, B+, 3-point, B- playmaking with B athleticism. Only C potential though, but why I like him and think maybe that C potential might be lying is he has 5 badges for one, and then if you go here to the scouting report, this ceiling says All-Star, which tells me that's not C potential. And so Bradford Reeves, really like him. Michael Collins, his ceiling is all NBA, so he might have a really nice ceiling. He also averaged a double-double, points and assists last year at the college level. He's got good inside the arc scoring, not much of a 3-point shooter right now, but playmaking is there. Perimeter defense is not. That's something that you'd have to train from, but B+ athleticism and B potential as well, with 4 playmaking badges. So this is going to be a guy who can kind of play. Earlier in the season, in season 1, we had Nemhard kind of just being the floor general in the second unit, trying to set players up. That would basically become Michael Collins' role here. And then Philip Evans is the last guy here. He's 73 overall, has Green Machine. He's the best shooter of all these guys. Not as much of a playmaker, but he is a dog defensively, A athleticism, A+ perimeter defense. So really hoping we can come away with one of these guards. And then in the second round, I really like going for probably backup centers where I really liked. We have guys like Kelly Hendricks here with B+ defense and A+ rebounding. And guys like Dylan King, who can maybe stretch the floor a little bit, still provide some defense and rebounding here. Maybe not as much rebounding as I would like though. Francis Shaw, we got up to 97% scouted, so just can't figure everything out on him, but B defense, A+ rebounding, I like that. And then the guys that we just barely put on, guys like Ruben Reese, who could be a really good shooter and athlete. That sounds really fun to me. JT Neely, who's mostly just all athlete, a little bit of defense right now. And then Brett Malone, who can be a bit of a shooter. In case we don't get one of those guards in the first round, we could maybe swoop around and pick him with the 33rd pick in the draft. Right now, as it currently stands, we have picks 2, 25, and 33 in this draft. Not opposed to moving any of these picks, not 2, but 25 and 33 to kind of move up, back, wherever it may be, to kind of fill out the board how we want. But I think that's all I have prior to the draft. So let's go ahead and hop into the first ever draft here of this franchise. Here we are. Welcome to the 2023 NBA draft, which just happened recently in real life, happening now. About to catch up to real life here in this series. The Orlando Magic are on the clock now, and if everything goes to plan, they should be taking. They take Mirko Petrovic, number 1 overall. Okay. Mirko Petrovic goes number 1 overall to the Orlando Magic. One of the best rebounders in the nation. Petrovic averaged a double-double at Croatia. Does he have the quickness to guard NBA speedsters? I think he does. I think he is an awesome center prospect. I don't think he's as good as Jackson Baldwin. But is there enough of a difference where you could say Mirko's the better fit? Because their 4 and 3 spot already look really good in Orlando with Wagner and Banchero. But Wagner, Banchero, Petrovic front court? Oh my goodness. That is a surprise at the top of this draft, putting us on the clock. And I said if we had a chance to draft Jackson Baldwin, we would. And I'm not straying from that here. I think Jackson Baldwin is an incredible, incredible prospect. Not the best of shooters, but he can score inside the arc with ease. I think his three-point shooting isn't so far away that he'll never get there either. He can play make. He can defend all over the place. He can rebound. Incredible athlete. IQ is something that you are very confident will get better as he gains experience. A potential, pretty sure that's actually A+. But Jackson Baldwin is a Las Vegas Outlaw in the end. Really wanted that number 1 pick in the lottery. Ended up with number 2. Still get our guy. I mean, the Orlando Magic got a great player in Mirko Petrovic, but I think they will come to regret passing on Jackson Baldwin, who averaged 4.6 blocks per game at small forward. I think he played actually 4 for Kentucky, but still a non-center averaging 4.6 blocks per game is quite nuts. The Spurs are on the clock, and they should land their point guard of the future, and they will here with Freddie Staples. Don't like the number 16 on him. I'll definitely be changing that. But we saw Baldwin versus Staples in action. I think they actually played pretty well against each other. Both showed a lot of strengths. I think San Antonio got the point guard of the future that can lead them to the success they've had for a lot of this century. They just need to help build some more pieces around him. I don't think he can do it by himself, but I don't think the concerns of building around a 6'2" guard apply to Freddie Staples. He's an elite athlete. He's an elite defender for his size, and he's got a great wingspan as well. And so I think he will be good. Led the nation in scoring at 24.3 points per game last season. Now this is where the draft starts to get interesting because there's the big 3, and I didn't talk about them very much, but I think the next best player in the class, he's ranked 5th, but I would say Cody Bryant. He's 76 overall, and he's just a very well-rounded skill set, and so I think whoever takes him, we'll see if the Charlotte Hornets take him. They do not. They go with Steve Wennington, who's just an athlete with very high potential. He's ranked number 4th in the class. I just think he's a little bit more raw than Cody Bryant, which is why I had them flipped in my rankings, but has a lot of potential. Charlotte still kind of in the early stages of a rebuild. I think they need to build up some more pieces, so by the time they're ready, Steve Wennington could be really good. I would think this is not Cody Bryant, so he's falling a little bit here. Maybe he goes to Seattle. That would be a good pickup for him. Gregor Freeman is another stretch 4 prospect for Utah, so that could be a good complement with Markkanen and Kessler in their front court. And then the Wizards take Niko Simunic. He's a little bit more of a long-term prospect here. He's only in the low 70s overall, but he has one of the highest ceilings in this class. He could turn into a dominant center, particularly defensively at some point in his career. And Cody Bryant does go to Seattle. Probably going to change him off of number 46 and maybe alter his look a little bit so he looks a little less generated and more of an actual person. But I think this is a steal of a pick at 7. Thought he was clearly the 4th best player in this class. Seattle snipes him at number 7 here. I like the pick a lot. His relentless willingness to sacrifice his body for loose balls. There you go. Another stretch 4 here. There are a lot of stretch 4s in this class. Just Maxwell was my favorite of them. I think this is a good pick by Detroit here. Lewis Adams, not a big fan of this pick. I thought he was pretty heavily overrated, but I could be wrong. Antonio Kersey, here's the center that I really liked. If he wasn't 6'9", I'd like him even more, but I think Toronto potentially got themselves a really good one here in Kersey. It looks like the Blazers want to trade for Malik Monk for a lottery pick. I don't think Malik Monk is a lottery pick. But we'll let it happen. Blazers trying to make a win now move and get another shooter next to Dame Lillard. I did like Malik Manning, not much of a three-point shooter, but a good inside the arc scorer here. Michael Collins, the 6'4 playmaker, goes to Brooklyn. I think that's a nice pick for them. They could use a good point guard to set up their guys they have around him. Perry Tavares goes next. Don't have much info on him, honestly. They're looking to trade some future picks. That's fine. For a lottery pick here. Byron Lowry goes here. 6'8", 220 pounds. Is that the guy that we put on our draft board for being a super good athlete? Let's see. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Draft board. No, that was Ruben Reese. I do remember Byron Lowry being on our draft board though, so I think that's a pretty good pick. And we're getting to the range where maybe I consider trading up for Bradford Reeves. Tyler Weber goes next. Let's just see how cheap it would be to trade up here with OKC. What about the Lakers picks that we've gotten? I'll give you the Lakers pick next year. Or to OKC. It's faster to go this way. Not enough to get 16? Another future first for you. They say no. Okay, that's fine. They go Kevin Jackson. They wanted him instead. Let's call up Utah now. See if they'll make the same deal. Another team that's in the stockpiling picks stage, although they already have a bunch. So how much is another future pick for them? We go 17. They say yes. With that in mind, I think it is time for Bradford Reeves. He just has more badges than anyone else out here, and I think he has a pretty good offensive skill set. Definitely needs to work on that defense, but I think he's got the athleticism to do it. And I have a feeling, just because this says All-Star, that his potential here is actually a lie. Maybe it's not, and we just got a perennial backup when we just traded 2 firsts for him. If that's the case, that's an L for me, but I think it's a trade that I am willing to make. I think the Lakers pick next year is going to be another one in the 20s, so a couple of picks in the 20s to get into the late teens. Don't mind the value. We got a lot of firsts at the end of last season at the trade deadline, and I was planning on probably consolidating one of them here in this draft. We get Bradford Reeves, one of the most talked about long-range shooters in the nation. He led all the shooting guards in the college threes at the draft combine. They were impressed by what we saw. We are definitely impressed by what we have seen. Now, I still probably want one of those point guards. Now, one of them has gone off the board, so if we take a look at our draft board here, and we're gonna go to the spot where okay, so we have 3 left. We have Eric Morris, Dion Haywood, and Phillip Evans. We took one, and the other one was taken early on in the draft. I'm not surprised because his little profile here said All-NBA ceiling, Rajon Rondo, which would be a really good career for him. So we have Phillip Evans, Eric Morris, and Dion Haywood. I think I still want to come out of this draft with one of them. So once 2 of them have been taken, I'll probably try to trade up from 33 to get the last one. Donnell Sloan was another guy on my board that I liked, another inside the arc kind of scorer. Mitch Fields goes, Jackie Brooks. So we're getting to the point where it might not be too much of an expensive trade up. Jonathan Holmes goes. He's only 6 feet, which is why we didn't take him. We might not even need to trade up for one of these players. Future picks, I'll allow that trade here. They trade up for a center that I think is pretty good. Henry Walgreen here. Phillip Evans goes, so now we're down to 2. We got Dion Haywood and Eric Morris, who are still not taken. Now Eric Morris goes. So do we trade up here with Golden State? Let's see. With this pick, we go to the Warriors. Try to get 28. Cannot be traded. If they take Dion Haywood, that's a big L. They don't. OKC is back up on the clock. They didn't trade with us earlier. Maybe they'll do so here. Thunder, pick 29, and we'll give you, I guess, a second next year. Will you give us, just give us a second this year? No, they want, no, that's not going to happen. What about this later second, the 19th pick? Not giving you Dallas's unprotected first. Okay, so they obviously want another pick here. What about a player who's not expired that we could throw into this deal? Nobody that I really want to trade. All right, Jazz back up on the clock now. They were nicer to us before. Maybe they'll be nicer to us here once again. 2 trades here. Oh, and they got a second round pick in the 8th. I like this. What about this and this? They want our top 5 protected for Simone Fontecchio. We'll take Simone Fontecchio from you. That's not even remotely close to a good deal, Utah. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why they think getting our first is anywhere close to a good deal for us. We just picked 2nd overall, dude. We're not stupid. I'll trade you Davis Bertans. 2025 Milwaukee. Nope. We're just gonna roll with it. Hopefully he makes it a few more picks. Trading up 3 spots in the draft is way harder in this game than it is in real life, and we get lucky that Dion Haywood is still here, so we will be taking him here. And there we go. We've taken our 3rd player here. I think we'll be able to sign one of the centers that we like in undrafted free agency. We'll also be able to, I want to make sure we check in on Ruben Reese. Definitely we'll be checking in on him as well. But I think that's really all we have for this draft. I'm not going to watch every pick in the 2nd round. We don't have any picks in them. So let's take a look at how the draft went for us here. Mirko Petrovic is an 83 overall. That was accurately predicted by our scouts. Jackson Baldwin is 1 less overall than our scouts predicted, but he's also not as good of a 3-point shooter, which seems to be the difference, really, probably. Everything else looks pretty much the same, maybe a little bit different, but he's not quite as good of a shooter as they thought. We could have seen that when we watched him play in the college season. Freddie Staples looked like our scouts underrated him slightly. Yeah, look. Oh yeah, they thought he was a much better mid-range. They thought he was a much worse mid-range shooter than he is in real life. That is a good guard. I was gonna take Freddie Staples at 2 if the Magic took Jackson Baldwin. I just thought I seen enough in that Baldwin versus Staples episode to not be scared about building around a 6'2" point guard. And as fun as Mirko Petrovic is, I just don't want to stunt Jalen Duren in any way. Wennington ends up being a 75 overall. Let's see what his actual potential is. Only B, but if you look at the comparison, it's actually higher. I don't know what that means. Looks like it's higher than average though there. Simunic, he was more of a low 70s guy, but he's got really good potential. Nice pick for the Wizards there. B+ here for Cody Bryant is good. Yeah, he's just a very well-rounded player. And I like Kersey. He's got B-. And let's see Jackson Maxwell. So he's not, or sorry, Jess Maxwell, only B-. So he's not quite as good of a three-point shooter as our scouts thought he was. Lewis Adams, I thought he was a pretty bad pick. 74 overall, you know, his potential. I was pretty right about that. He just, what are you getting here? An okay defender who can't rebound and can score inside? That's just not a lottery pick to me. Malik Manning here, 72 overall, inside the arc scorer. B potential is solid. Collins here, C's across the board, so an average offensive player scoring wise, but a great playmaker, not a good defender though. Only B- potential. All right. We ended up taking Bradford Reeves, A+. Okay, he's a way better shooter. I think our Scott said he's B+. He's way better. He's A+ three-pointer. A- athleticism is better. Only C+ potential though. So looked like it was higher than they said. Not a crazy potential. Probably only gonna be, you know, a career backup player, but gonna have some badges. I think he's gonna be a bucket off the bench for us at the very least. So you trade to first for that? Probably not. Probably a bit of a miss there. Yikes. 5'11", 155 pounds, and 69 overall. That is a terrible pick from the Knicks. I don't care what his potential is. Actually, I do. What is it? C+. Oh, goodness. That is a bad pick. Philip Evans here. So, B potential on Evans. A+ defender, just not much of an offensive player. But he's athletic, and he can play defense, and that's how you'll start him. Eric Morris. I liked him. He's just a little bit undersized. Just can't shoot, but he play make well. Score inside the arc. A- athleticism, B potential. Nice. 71 overall only, but he is as good of a scorer as we thought. Actually, a little bit better of a playmaker, but worse of a defender with B- potential. So I think overall this draft was pretty good just because we got Jackson Baldwin. We got Jackson Baldwin and a couple of busts. This draft is going to be good for us. So let's go ahead and sign these rookies up. They do not want us to sign Deion Haywood. I disagree. We'll be signing him for sure. Team and player options. I'm going to pick up Shumo Kiki's option here. This doesn't really matter for our purposes. Langford not extending him an $8.8 million qualifying offer. Not a chance. That's way too much money for him. So now we enter post-draft UDFA, and hey, Kelly Hendricks is one of the guys that I really like. He's got 2 badges. He's got A rebound, B+ post defense, C+ potential. He's a 72 overall, a couple of finishing things. So I'm going to offer him this. I think a 1+1 team seems fair for him. Actually, we should be offering him. He might accept the Hornets offer. I didn't see another offer, unfortunately. Antonio Felder is another guy who was on our list, though. We could maybe get him. Let's just look at centers only. So Felder's already 75 overall. He might even be better here than with B potential. Yeah, we're offering him a contract. 1+1 team, 7 million is a lot. And then let's keep going. Let's see if there's this shooting guard. He was 21 years old now. Dante Rogers looks pretty good. I wouldn't mind Dante Rogers here. What's his face? Let's go 3-point shooting. Ruben Reese, 70 overall, B- potential. I'll take him. Let's offer him a 2-year team option. Oh, okay, he would just rather have a 1-year minimum. I'll take it. Here we go. We got all 3 assigned. Should we sign both Antonio Felder and Kelly Hendricks? I don't think we should. We should choose. Felder, I think, is just better. Hendricks is taller. Let's use a better athlete. C+ and C-, but B potential. And he's better now. E+ for everything here. Neither's much of, let's see, perimeter defense. Both suck. But there's not quite as good of a rebounder. He's not quite as tall either, but he's better with higher potential. So we'll do Reese and Fielder. And we'll renounce the rights to Langford. And there we go. Let's see what that puts us here at. In terms of roster size, we have 15 players. We might have to actually even get rid of somebody by the time the season starts, but we've got a full team. And so that'll be it for free agency. I'll see you towards the end of free agency when most people have made their decisions. We can see where people went. All right, here we are, day 11 of 12 here. Most of these guys have made their decisions. There's a couple of point guards here at the top who still haven't, but Kyrie Irving is going to the Utah Jazz. All right, to join up with Kessler and Markkanen. For some reason, for a half a second, I thought Petrovic went to the Jazz. That would have been a pretty cool duo. Harden returns to the Sixers. Porzingis returns. Lopez returns. Vucevic heading to Detroit. D'Angelo Russell to the Magic. So it's going to be Russell joining up with that awesome front court. Miles Bridges to Indiana. And that's kind of it for the big name guys. A couple names down here moving as well. Russ and Jakob Poeltl both going to Charlotte here. Reeves returns to LA. Mike Conley decides not to retire. He'll be with the Hawks. Hopefully he can be better with them than he was with us. But there you have it. That is it for free agency this year. We really only got player progression left here, and then we're gonna actually hop into some summer leagues, see some of these rookies play. But before that, let's see how people have progressed and regressed here. Nembhard goes up 2. All of his scoring is better, which is going to be very nice for him. His IQ also improves. Duren here up, really just gets better at perimeter defense. That's all he does. That's okay. I felt like he was good at what we asked him to do already. Chuma Okeke goes up 1. Christian Braun goes up 2. And then Powell regresses, as does Karis LeVert, not 2. I'm surprised by that, but here you have it. Let's not talk about badges. Duren had 4 last year. He goes up to 8. He only had 1 finishing. I think it was Masher. So he gets back down, Punisher, and Rise Up. And then he gets, I think, Pogo Stick and Workhorse. And I think these get upgraded. I can't remember what they were at last year. But either way, doubles his badges. That's going to help him a lot. Nembhard goes from 0 to 5. 1 shooting is slippery off ball. All right. And then Bailout, Floor General, Hyperdrive, and Needle Threader. So he's going to be better playing the point guard for us next year. Cam Reddish out here. I don't think he gains any badges, but he goes up. Better D, better 3. So he's become a better 3 and D player for us. Okeke now has 2 defensive badges, Interceptor and Workhorse. Braun, did he already have Mini Magician? I can't remember. No badges for him. Oh, I got to release Bertans. That's what we're going to do to get down to 14. But 2 badges here. Catch and shoot and corner specialist. Wow, Ruben Reese. Those are a couple really good badges for him. So a really athletic guy that can shoot. I'm actually excited about Ruben Reese here. Dion Haywood here. He's got these 3 badges. We already knew that though. So, yeah, I think that basically does it. I'm going to watch a Summer League game and I'll probably just chop up the highlights after that. So you won't see my face cam probably for the rest of this video. But I hope you like this section. Let's go ahead and get into these Summer League highlights. So my original plan was just to record 1 Summer League game, but it was really fun, and I ended up recording multiple games and wanted to turn it into its own episode. So that will be the next episode of this franchise. That's all I've got for this episode. I'll be back soon with another, and I will see you then.